Yes, that was the last. Yes, that was the last slide of my class. So if you have any problem from that table or something before that table, you can ask me. Otherwise, I will proceed.
Ma'am, one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, in this table, we see that when the farmer and the rancher gets into the trade, the rancher, because of incomplete specialization, he produces both meat and potato, whereas the farmer, due to complete specialization, he produces only potato. Ma'am,
Yes.
in this case, we find that the rancher produces 75% and 25% of 75% of meat and 25% of potato. So, ma'am, is this figure arbitrarily decided or is it due to some other reasons?
Yeah, no, definitely it is not arbitrarily decided. Huh? There are some other reasons that may not be known to rancher and farmer, but as an economist, you must know there is a reason behind that specialization. But as I said in my class, that it is not possible for me to discuss the reason behind that, behind those values in this semester. So we have to wait for some for semester 5 actually. Here I will decide,
Ma'am,
but yes.
ma'am, actually, like if there's such a type of question from the examination,
Oh,
so
no,
ma'am,
no, no. No such
how,
question will come.
okay, okay,
No
that
such
is why I
question.
was asking.
Yes. No such question is coming like why farmer is going for complete specialization and why rancher for incomplete specialization. This
No, ma'am,
question
not
will
that,
never come.
not that. Ma'am, not that. Ma'am, like we are given a table like the farmer and rancher produces this much. How much should they produce or how much should they trade in order to make gains
No,
from trade
no, no,
possible?
no, 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 no. This type question is also not possible.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Let me explain. The question is
Ma'am,
like this. No, the question will be like this. The values will be given. Okay. From here, the values will be given 0, 32, 18, 12. The maximum the question is like that. Tell me the pattern of production of the farmer. So I have to tell this is the complete specialization. Actually, in your book, it is written like after negotiating, they have decided to produce like this. But why they have decided, what is the reason behind that negotiation, what is the logic behind their negotiation, that should not come, that will not come in sem 1 question paper. Okay,
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
this is just an example. That is possible, that is also possible, and they will going for some specialized production. Okay. And why they will, definitely why they will, I will explain a bit about this when I will explain that comparative advantage. A bit of this you can understand. So that much I will explain just after 2 or 3 slides. I will explain today.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So any other question?
ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, in ManQ, there is a conversation between rancher and farmer.
Yes, yes.
My yes, ma'am. In yesterday's class, you explained the whole when you explain the whole farmer and rancher diagram into say the chart, then it is very much clear to me. But after reading the conversation, it is very much puzzling. Um, so I want to say that if I don't read the conversation, um, if there is any problem, because the whole explanation is very much clear, but reading the conversation, it is too much puzzling, I think.
No, so don't read those conversation because just you can understand the farmer and rancher, they don't know economics. But you are looking their
Uh,
picture in terms of the economics. So definitely you may get some confusion from their conversation. Don't go for it.
yes, ma'am.
Don't go
Okay.
for it. Actually, what I said that I will explain why farmer is going in favor of potato and why rancher is going in favor of meat. That part I can explain given your knowledge. But why 32? Why 0? Why 18? That particular value. Why that particular value is there? Why there is complete and why there is incomplete? That I cannot. Given the situation, I cannot. But what I can explain that, look, before the trade, the farmer is producing both. But after the trade, farmer is producing only potato. So he is something biased in favor of potato, right? He has some advantage over the production of potato. And rancher also has some advantage over the production of meat. Why they have like this? So that I can explain. But why complete, why incomplete, why that particular value, that I cannot explain. Is that okay? I can explain the direction
Yes,
of
ma'am.
their specialization. That much I will definitely explain. The direction of their specialization. That I will explain. Any other question?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, I have a question from the previous chapter.
Oh, yes. No,
Ma'am,
just a minute, just a minute, just a minute. I think for this part, we have to use our double period. Because the double period is 2 hours time, we have a lot of time there. Today, I have only one class with you. So, for any question from the previous chapter, you please ask in my double period. Today,
okay, ma'am.
tomorrow, I have a double period. Now, you please go there and ask the question there. After
Okay, ma'am.
ending my discussion, we have a lot of time. Ask there. Whatever you want regarding the previous chapter, you can ask there. As I am
Okay, ma'am.
going through this, I am just continuing this table. So that is why I am asking if you have any problem with this table or something related with this table, make yourself clear. No other question, no? Okay, so let me go there. The next table, next slide is very simple. That just the explanation of this table. Look at this. Yes, we know about this point. Just a minute. Let me use my pointer. Yes, we know about this point, that blue line point, because this is the point, the midpoint. That means 4 hours for meat and the 4 hours for potato. The first diagram for the farmer, the second diagram for the rancher. You know. Now, this is the case without trade. As I said, this point is showing the autarky without trade, right? Now, after trade, if you are going through the table, you can see that as I said, before trade, whatever you produced, you have to consume because there was no scope for exchange, right? So the farmer was producing 4, so farmer has to consume 4. But after trade, farmer is getting 5, something more in case of meat. So that is represented here, 4 to 5. Similarly, 16 is going to 17 in case of consumption. So if you just compare the consumption situation, initially the consumption combination is here on his PPF, but now his consumption point is above his PPF. Okay, so look, this is that yellow line is his production possibility frontier. That means he cannot produce more than this yellow line. He cannot go here, he cannot go here, he cannot go here, because this is beyond the capacity. Okay, his capacity is shown by this yellow line. He cannot produce anything above this line. Okay, here he can. If there is unemployment, he can produce here or here or here, but it is not possible. It is not possible. It is not possible. But look, I'm not changing his production pattern. I'm not the pattern. I'm not changing his production technology. I am not giving him any other scope to improve his production. His production system or his production structure is as before. He may change his production combination, but no improved technology, no sophisticated skill, nothing is given to farmer. These are all given. So that yellow line is given. He can move from here to here. He can move from here to here. That is allowed. But he cannot go beyond his line. And look at the consumption. Consumption combination is beyond his PPC. So I can say after trade, he is consuming something which he could not produce given his technology, given the resources. He cannot go there given his production. But as he is trading, he is going beyond his PPC. So something he is gaining. The space where he cannot go, now he can go through the exchange process. So that is how I can say that given that consumption combination, the consumer, here the consumer is a farmer. So farmer is gaining. Is it clear? If you have any query, you are free to ask.
Then the last word which you said, I can't hear it.
Okay.
Please repeat once.
I am saying that that yellow line is showing his production combination, right? So if he is producing here, he can consume that much, but he cannot go here because this is beyond his capacity. And I am not doing anything to improve his capacity. So that yellow line is as before. Before trade, that yellow line is there. After trade, that yellow line is there. So he cannot move beyond this line in terms of production. But through the exchange process, he is now here. His consumption point is here. This is not his production point. His consumption point is here. Okay. So he cannot consume here if there is no exchange, because he cannot produce. So that is why I am saying that through the exchange process, the farmer is better off than before. Otherwise, he cannot come here. He has to be anywhere on the yellow line or below the yellow line. But it is not possible to go beyond that yellow line. That is possible only through exchange. So consumer is going beyond that yellow line. Consumer is going beyond the PPC line only through exchange. So he is definitely better off. He is getting something more which he cannot without trade. So that is why I am saying that farmer is better off. Now is it clear?
Yes, ma'am, it is clear.
Now look at the rancher. Initially that 4 point is here, right? If you can remember that 12 and 24, that point is here. And after the exchange, he is getting more meat, 12 to 13, because he is producing after the change is production pattern. What he was producing, what he is producing after the trade, 18 units of meat and 12 units of potato. Can you remember? Look that where it is. Yes, 12 units of potato and 18 units of meat. So 12 units of potato and 18 units of meat. This is his production point. Look, initially in the autarky, his production point is here. After trade, his production point is here. So look, he is moving along that green line. He cannot go beyond that green line through the production, because that is the limit. That is the limit given the resources, given the technology. He cannot move beyond this. Okay, so he is just moving his production point from here to here. In the autarky, production point is here. The trade production point is here. But then he is exchanging, all of you know how he is exchanging with the farmer, and then he is consuming 13 units of meat and 27 units of potato, right? He is consuming 13 unit of meat and 27 unit of potato, right? So it is here, 13 and 27. Now you have to compare his consumption before trade, after trade. Before trade, his meat consumption was 12. Now his meat consumption is 13. Before trade, his potato consumption is 24. Now it is 27. So if I join that 13, 27, definitely it is above his production possibility frontier. So he is also gaining. Through consumption, in terms of consumption, he is also gaining. Given his production, he cannot come here, but through exchange, he can. So he is also gaining something. And why he is gaining? Because of this exchange, because of this trade. So both farmer and rancher are getting some gain, some improvement of their consumption combination. Okay, so this is how you can explain the gains from trade. Is that diagram clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So no problem, huh? I'm just assuming there is no problem. So before going to my next slide, let me go back what I have discussed. This is interdependency and the gains from trade. First of all, we have discussed about the production possibility. Very broadly, we have discussed it with an example. This is the production possibility lines of two individuals. And we just assume that before trade, they are spending 50-50 time for production of the both commodities. That is why we are getting A and B as a production and consumption point. Then after, we are getting this large table, and this table is represented here. And what is the conclusion? There is gains from trade. And how we are explaining gains from trade? In terms of changing their consumption pattern, in terms of comparing their previous consumption with the trade consumption. Okay, so that part we did. Now here, look here, there is no such economics, right? There is no such economics, only some change in consumption, production pattern, exchange, and all this. No such particular term of economics, because they don't know economics. And now we try to explain this thing with the help of economics. The first concept, absolute advantage. As I said, absolute advantage, the concept which was given by whom? Can you remember? I said in my class.
Adam Smith.
Ma'am, Adam
Yes,
Smith.
yes. The concept was given by Adam Smith. And Adam Smith was saying that if a country is more productive in the production of some commodity, he can produce it. And I said with an example that how it creates the problem in the real life. So that is this is the definition of absolute advantage. When a country is more productive in the production, it has absolute advantage in that production of that particular commodity. Now, as I said, there is a problem of absolute advantage in real life. So based on that, we have the comparative advantage, which was introduced by
Ricardo.
Yes, David Ricardo. And comparative advantage theory is saying the opportunity cost. It is in terms of opportunity cost. There is no concept of productivity. You may be productive for all the commodities. You may be less productive for all the commodities. It doesn't matter. What matters? Your opportunity cost. Where the opportunity cost is least, you should produce it. This is the concept of comparative advantage. Okay. Now, given these things, now look at this. I'm using the same example. I'm using the same example of farmer and rancher. I'm using the same example. And the opportunity cost, now I'm going back. Look, the first table. Yes. Look at the second part of this table. Look at the second part of my first table. The amount produced in 8 hours. Farmer was producing 8 ounce or 32 ounce. The rancher is producing 24 ounce or 48 ounce. Right? Now, the same 8 hours. You are spending same 8 hours. Now, concentrate for the farmer. Look at the farmer. Now, he can produce either 8 ounce or 32 ounce. There is no other scope. Only two commodities. So, opportunity cost of meat must be in terms of potato, and opportunity cost of potato must be in terms of meat. Because we know opportunity cost is the best alternative you have sacrificed. So, as there are only two commodities, the best alternative is the second one. Okay, there is no third commodity. Now, look, the farmer is producing either 8 ounce of meat or 32 ounce of potato. So what is the opportunity cost of meat of 8 ounce, 32 ounce? Right. If he is spending that 8 hours for meat production, he can produce 8 ounce. If he is not spending that time and he will spend the same time for potato, he can produce 32. So what is the opportunity cost of 8 ounce of meat for the farmer? 32 ounce of potato. Okay, is it clear to you? Because he is sacrificing 32 ounce of potato to produce 8 ounce of meat. Now is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the opportunity cost of 1 unit of meat? 32 divided by 8. Okay, so that will be 4. Okay, so that will be 4. And this just opposite will be the opportunity cost of potato, because 32 ounce is equivalent to 8 ounce. So 1 ounce is equivalent to 8 by 32. That means 1 by 4.
1 by 4.
Yes. So that is how you are getting 4 here, and just inverse of 4, that is 1 by 4 here. And here it will be 2 and it will be 1 by 2. Right? So that is what written here. Look. Opportunity cost of 1 ounce of meat is 4 ounce of potato, and 1 ounce of potato is 1/4 ounce of meat. So just inverse. If one is 6, so another is 1 by 6. Do you get how I am getting this opportunity cost table? Is it clear to you?
Ma'am, can
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any problem? Any problem?
yes, ma'am, please explain it once more. That 1 by
Yes.
6, 1 by 4 part.
Okay. So for that, I have to go there. Yes, look. I'm saying that if he is spending 8 hours for the meat production, he can produce 8. If he is spending the same 8 hours for potato, he can produce 32. So when the farmer is producing 8 ounces of meat, that means he is sacrificing that 32 ounces of potato. If he is not producing meat, he will go for the potato production and he can produce 32 ounces. So he is sacrificing 32 ounces of potato when he is producing 8 ounces of meat. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So what he is sacrificing when he is producing 8 ounces of meat, what he is sacrificing? He is sacrificing 32 ounces of potato. Okay, so 32 ounces of potato is the opportunity cost of 8 ounces of meat. Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So if 8 ounces of meat, the opportunity cost of 8 ounces of meat is 32 ounces of potato. So what is the opportunity cost of 1 unit of meat? Just unitary, na? So that will be 32 by 8. So 32 by 8 means 4. So 4 ounces of potato is the opportunity cost of 1 unit of meat for the farmer. Okay, so here comes 4 opportunity cost. And just opposite will be the opportunity cost of potato in terms of meat, because there comes the 32 ounce, either 32 ounce or 8 ounce. So when he is producing 32 ounce, he is sacrificing 8 ounce. So when he will produce 1 ounce, how much he will sacrifice? 8 by 32, that will be 1 by 4. So here comes 4 and here comes 1 by 4. Tell me
Okay,
now.
ma'am, understood. Understood.
Okay. So now look, here we are getting the final table. 4 ounces of potato, 1/4 ounce of meat. Here it is 2 ounces of potato and here it is ½ ounce of meat. So now look, you may be more productive, as it is the case of rancher here. He is more productive for both the commodities, right? He is more productive for both the commodities, right? He is producing commodities more, both the commodities more than farmer. So he is more productive. He is the representative of the developed part of the world. Huh? But still, in terms of opportunity cost, you can compare. Productivity is not important here. Look. So here you are getting this table. Now you have to find the trade pattern in terms of comparative advantage. So now, so what happened? Look, here you have to compare of 4 and 2. Which one is more? 4 and 2. Which one is least? Sorry, which one is least? 2. Right? So 2
Yes,
is
ma'am.
Yes,
less
ma'am.
than 4. 2 is less than 4. So what your opportunity cost theory, what your comparative advantage theory is saying? Your comparative advantage theory is saying where your opportunity cost is least, you should produce it. So here, as 2 is less than 4, so rancher has least opportunity cost of meat production. So he should produce meat. Is it okay? You have to compare
Yes,
vertically.
ma'am.
You have to compare vertically. Huh? This is something, some confusion may arise. Initially, Whatever you did, you are comparing horizontally, whether 4 is greater than 1 by 4, whether 2 is greater than half, is like that. And now finally you have to compare it vertically. Which one is least? Where the opportunity cost is least for meat, for the rancher. Okay, so rancher should produce meat. Now come here, potato. Half is greater, na? Half is greater than 1 by 4. So I can say 1 by 4 is less than half. So opportunity cost of potato in terms of meat is least for the farmer. So farmer should produce potato. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
problem? Any problem? If you, anyone in this class, if you are facing any problem, just ask.
Ma'am, can you present the comparative advantage slide again?
Yes. For the commodity where opportunity cost is least, the country has comparative advantage over that commodity. It should be that, huh? Over that commodity. For the commodity where opportunity cost is least, the country has comparative advantage over that commodity.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Now what happens? Look, as I said, if in case of comparative advantage, you can always explain the pattern of trade. There is no problem as it was in case of the absolute advantage. Why I was saying so? Because if 4 is greater than 2, half is always less than 1 by 4. Yeah. One is inverse of another. Here it is 4, so here it is 1 by 4. Here it is 2, so here it is 1 by 2. So if rancher has comparative advantage over meat production, through that comparative advantage theory, farmer should always get the comparative advantage over production, potato production. Because 4 is always greater than 1 by 4 and 2 is always greater than half. If we're just making inverse, 4 is greater than 2, then half is definitely greater than 1 by 4. Okay, that is why there is always trade if it is opportunity cost. You always get the trade pattern, who is producing what, who is producing, who is exchanging what, if it is comparative advantage. And look, as I said in just at the beginning of my class, that I will explain why farmer is concentrating for the potato production. I cannot explain why farmer is going for complete specialization. Why farmer is producing exactly 32 ounces of potato, that I cannot. But I can explain why after trade farmer is going in favor of potato production. Look, now I did. Now I have explained it. Now I can explain it. That as farmer has least opportunity cost for potato as compared to rancher, farmer will produce potato. Just a minute, I have to take this phone call. Give me 1 minute.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Someone was raising their hand, right? Ask me. Any question? Do you have any question?
No, ma'am.
Then I said, nah, I give me some time. I have to talk. This is actually a phone call from my college, so I have to talk there. Anyway, so this is the thing. Now tell me, as I said my at the beginning of my class, that I can explain why the farmer has there is production specialization. Na? So what is the reason behind that production specialization? That much I can explain to you. So this diagram is this table is explaining. Hmm. But why the complete, why that incomplete, why that particular value of production? It's not possible. But don't worry, I know the reason, and I will explain it. Only a bit of time is needed.
Ma'am,
Yes.
uh, what if the opportunity cost of both farmer and rancher are same?
Yes, if it is same, then you cannot explain. Yes, in that case, you cannot explain. For example, if it is, say it is 4 and 1 by 4, if it is 2 and it is half, so in that case, you cannot explain. You cannot explain even with the help of your comparative advantage. Yes, in that case, you cannot explain. And you have to explain, you have to conclude that as opportunity cost is same, through opportunity cost or through comparative advantage theorem, it is not possible to explain the pattern of trade. Actually, look, if it is so, even then there may be trade because people may prefer variety. People, there are so many reasons behind that. Demand is also an important factor behind the exchange, behind the trade. That is not considered here. We are only thinking about the production, about the producer, whether he can produce, whether, what is the opportunity cost, what is the productivity, everything in terms of the producer. But consumer plays an important role here. Okay, so that part is not discussed here. But if any such question will arise, will come in your question paper or anywhere, so you have to write, make yourself safe, and you have to conclude that with the help of comparative advantage theorem or with the help of opportunity cost concept, we cannot explain the trade pattern here. Don't go for all other stories which I shared with you, that there is demand, there may be trade. Don't go for all these confusion. Just say, with the help of comparative advantage theorem, we cannot explain the trade pattern.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, I just want to announce one more thing here. Write your roll numbers in the chat box. As I am recording this session, your chat box will also be recorded. And this is how you will get your attendance in the class. So start writing your roll numbers in the chat box.
Ma'am,
Hey,
should
Bapre,
I?
so much
Ma'am,
sound.
just the last three digits.
Yes, yes. 300, 301, 305 is like this. Okay. Let me go to this part. As I said in my last class, this is not in your syllabus, but I thought that I have to explain it as increasing cost in your syllabus. Only this portion I will explain with the help of this PPC. Look, as I said, the PPC is concave. In general, PPC is concave, and it is also in chapter 2 of your ManQ. So, what happened? You know the concept of opportunity cost now. You know the concept of PPC now. So, it is easy for me to explain this situation. Here, the producer is producing two commodities. One is X, another is Y. Okay. Now, the same amount of X increased here and here. The length, the horizontal length, this dotted line, the length of this dotted line is same. Now here, when the producer is moving from this point, let me, where it is. Yes. when the producer is moving from here to here, when the producer is moving from here to here, he is producing more of x and less of y, right? He is producing that much of x. And in exchange of that x, he is sacrificing this much of y. Okay. So the opportunity cost of this much of x is this y. Do you agree with me?
Can you repeat
Yes,
it?
ma'am.
The same amount of loss from the and from here is moving there. The same amount of x is increased.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt you.
Not
Your
audible.
voice is cracking.
My voice is cracking.
Yes, ma'am, your voice is cracking.
Maybe network issue. I have only 4 minutes left in my class, so it's better to start in the next class.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
I will start
Okay,
it
ma'am.
in my next class. Not to worry, I will explain it in my next class.
Okay, ma'am.
Tell me one thing. When